Hey there, podcast listeners. JJ, your host with the most here. Listen, today's episode of JJ Meets World is going to be a blast because we've got Tequila Mockingbird on, winner of the 2018 HPR's Best of the Best for Best Drag Queen. We get to talk about dresses, we get to talk about fake boobs, everything you've wanted to know, and then maybe a little bit more about the drag queen herself, Tequila Mockingbird. Also, Tucker and I tackle, why do you go to work? And whether or not gift cards are appropriate gifts. All this and more on this week's episode of JJ Meets World.
1, 2, 3, 4. JJ Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. JJ has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
I don't see why everyone has a big deal with giving gift cards as gifts. Some people don't find it to be as personable.
Has there been an outcry? I'm confused.
Oh, I think there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, I would never give a gift card as a gift for a birthday or a Christmas present."
I prefer them as gifts.
So do I.
Who is taking crazy pills and saying gift cards aren't good? The word gift is in it.
Right, and then card. And those are two words I enjoy.
Yeah.
Both gift and card. Now, if you said this is a gift toilet, I would say, well, I only need it every now and then.
Yeah, but at that point, though, you have to compare and contrast. You have to compare and contrast, JJ. You don't look a gift toilet at the mouth.
No, in the bowl.
Comes in
the bowl. That's a joke I was going to make, and I could tell you were railroading me on it. And you don't look a gift toilet in the bowl. Let that be a lesson to all of us.
I've never once been paid for standing on a stage and being funny. So I don't claim.
Oh, you don't claim it?
No.
So here's my thing is we now live in a world where you can get prepaid Visa gift cards that work anywhere. But sometimes people will still say, well, I'd like to get it to this particular restaurant or
what is going on over there?
I'm dropping a water bottle everywhere.
You're having the most trouble with that water bottle. Go ahead.
But why? Why? I just don't understand. It doesn't say to me that you don't know anything about me if you give me a gift card as appreciation or a celebration.
Yeah.
That is just fine. My work gives a bonus every year to employees in the form of like a gift card. Now, we also get taxed on that gift card, which sucks.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
If I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment, I can see if it's, say, your girlfriend and it's her birthday, this is someone who is important to you, and getting them a gift card doesn't necessarily show a lot of time and effort or, a lot of thinking about it. But at the same time, now not being devil's advocate, as an adult, I'm trying to think of how many people are in my life that I actually expect a thoughtful gift from at any given time. Like, I'm not really, maybe my parents and my immediate family, but that's about it.
Well, I think you have to think a little bit about a gift card, because I can't just say, oh, okay, so here's Tucker. What do I know about Tucker?
Really likes using Visa?
Well, I was thinking more like Tucker would really love a gift card to TJ Maxx. I don't know if you shop at TJ Maxx, or maybe my friend Brenda, who's a vegetarian, I will get her a coupon to Prime Cut Meats.
See, I just default to Amazon gift cards because you can basically get anything with those. The one big complaint about gift cards I do have is it's money that's not as good as actual money, because it's very narrow what you can do with it. But at least if it's like we're not subsidized by Amazon, by the way, but we're willing to be.
And that's my point about the Visa gift card, is it does work. It's just as good as cash.
Okay.
Because you can use it to pay your utility bill. Oh, the only thing you probably can't do is pay rent unless you can pay rent online. Somebody told me once too that this is kind of off the beaten path, that it's illegal to charge someone to use a credit card. So, situations where you go somewhere and they're like, oh, it's a 3% fee.
Oh, the
if you use
business owner's not
if you use
allowed
a
to.
credit card. I don't believe that that's allowed.
Okay.
I think that they can just set the price a little bit higher and then give you a discount for paying in cash.
Okay.
But we've known some people who've bought some odd things with credit cards. Like your dad bought a house with a credit card once, which I find to be just very interesting. I think that's so neat.
Yeah.
And I've never had a limit high enough to purchase a house.
No.
What do you think the highest is you've ever had as a limit on your credit card?
Oh, I mean, I think it's still the same limit, and it's just 2,000 because I've never
asked for it to be up.
Yeah, I
right?
don't need it. I mean, I don't need to borrow that much money.
It almost keeps you from yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's what I always thought. Is I had a Best Buy credit card, and the limit was like $1,500.
Yeah. And I use it for basically emergencies. Like car breaks down, I don't have cash on hand. Okay, I'm going to go into debt for
some
it.
plastic.
Yeah.
So you prefer to pay things straight with like a checking account? Do you get bonuses out of your checking account?
Debit
perks?
card, yeah, it still tracks your credit a little bit, and it still does. It's still a good system to use. It's really secure, but
I think it's weird because the first big credit card perk.
JJ's tired, you guys.
I am tired. The first big credit card perk was, of course, airline miles.
Yeah.
And every dollar you spend equals a mile or something like that. I don't understand how airline miles work because you'll need like 70,000 miles, but the trip is only 1,000
And sometimes
miles.
certain types of purchases, like you go, well, if you use this card at these places,
it's more.
It's more.
Like at a restaurant or for groceries or gas.
Yeah.
But if you buy a television, it's not as much.
Luckily, my needs are not many.
Yeah.
So I'm not having to like shell out stuff all the time. And I have no school debt because I never went to school. Quick tip, if you want to stay out of school debt, just don't go. Just quit.
Mm-hmm. And have you experienced a glass ceiling?
No.
No?
I'm a white guy. Does one exist?
Sure, if you don't have a degree.
Well, I'm not going to become a doctor, but that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Now, I wonder if we're going to get desperate in certain fields that have previously required a degree where they just go, God, you've played that much Minecraft? Okay, well, you can engineer a bridge.
I think the desperation comes actually from not enough people. Like I can't see a field that doesn't require a degree suddenly requiring one, And the problem is that degrees seem to be worth less and less because a lot of the older jobs that you might have been able to have gotten by having a degree, either you don't find them anymore, they don't exist, or that job does not make enough money for you to get out of debt for going to school to get that job in the first place.
I applied once for a job that had a degree or equivalent.
Okay.
And
Equivalent experience, right?
Yeah.
And do they do that just by years? So like if it's a 4-year degree do they have at least 4 years of experience? Is that
I don't know.
the equivalency?
Yeah, I don't know. Or if it's you've worked in the field already or you have contact. I don't know what it is because, and that would be an interesting question for someone from an HR. Well, let's get an HR rep on one of these shows and just grill them.
That's probably the most requested person we've gotten from our
HR
audience
rep.
is an HR rep because they want them to
For like a major corporation too.
Yeah, they want them to find new hosts, new producer. I'd love the show if it wasn't for the guys who make it and the podcast itself.
What about when you get when it says salary depends on experience, DOE? That to me is even more insulting because you come in and you say well, let me tell you my experience. I've seen every episode of DuckTales. How does that pertain to this job? You tell me.
You were a little too broad in your what you were saying by experience.
I have a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
One time I dated a girl who had a lot more experience than I did.
Yeah.
And my salary should reflect that.
One skill that we don't get taught in school is how do you quantify the value of your time? Because that's different for every person depending on your skill set and what you want to do and what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're right. The salary will depend on what we think you are worth. right? Hearing that from a company isn't really fun. But if you have a way to quantify what your time is valued at, based on what you've gotten in the past, what you can get, or just what you're willing to give, do that work for. We're not really taught those skills. So most people going out into the workforce, they have no notion of how they can ascribe their own value, build their own value in an economic sense. They're just sort of handed like, all right, well, this is your position, so you're valued at this. And I wonder what if we could change that, what that would change. I'm guessing employers wouldn't like it, but employees would.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. I think employers would instantly go, uh-oh, because we're just requiring you to be here from set time to set time,
Right.
and these are the goals you have to accomplish.
Right.
But if you can do that in a different way, we don't know how to, be the authoritative role to that. And maybe that's what we should be looking forward to in the 21st century, is that people work at a different pace. We've already started establishing that with schools.
Yeah.
And that people learn in different ways, and what, not every square peg is going to fit into a round hole.
I've worked at places too where, I wasn't making the amount of money I should have been making, or I felt that I should have been making. But that actually wasn't the worst part. The worst part was always if I felt like the people I worked for just literally didn't value me being there. Whether I was there or not, it didn't really matter. And that sort of intrinsic value, that self-worth that you have to find inside, it really sucks to work at a place that chips away at that. And maybe it's not just learning as a child how to ascribe an economic value to your time, but to actually value yourself before seeking value from others, for seeking someone else outside of you to say, yes, I'm going to validate you. The ability to validate yourself, that's something I've never learned. I wish I'd learned that in high school. I don't know how you teach that, but
I'll tell you this much. We live in a world where so many executives and managers and middle managers have been told, well, if you tell people that they're valued, that's really all that they want. Mm-hmm. And then you get a half-assed, hey, and thank you for this.
Good job, team.
Yep. That to me actually makes me want to work at that business less.
Yeah.
Because it is so disingenuous. Is that a word? Disingenuous? Yeah, disingenuous.
Or working at a place where it's like they're trying to slap lipstick on a pig, where it's like, listen, we're at a casino, we work at a casino. Stop calling us all stars. Stop saying, rah, rah, rah.
Stop calling me a cast member.
Yeah. Just go, hey, thanks for, taking on this job. I know it's not fun, but, here's the money, and we appreciate what you're doing, and your benefits are not going to go away, and I hope your kids are doing okay.
Right.
Like if a company could do that, mm-hmm. they would, I think, see a much bigger, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's when it comes down to company culture, I don't know what I'm saying.
No, it's company. Okay,
I'm tired too.
There are studies that have shown that a person would rather take home less salary but have a company that has an exquisite culture mm-hmm. than work at a company that has a bad culture but they take home more money.
Worst way to start your day is to drive to a job you hate.
Yep, without a doubt.
Just kills you inside. Mm-hmm. No money is worth that.
Yeah. I teach a lot of teamwork exercises. And the first thing I say is like, hey, everyone, listen, never give your employees a gift card. Always give them a gift that is from the heart, that means
Hold
something.
On. Wait. Hold on. I just want to make sure that I didn't dream up the first half of this conversation.
I know. I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke here. But if you're going to give your company, everyone's going to go home with a $10 Target gift card, don't tax them on it.
Yeah.
Just don't. Just say, hey, everyone, I'm not giving this to you, but I dropped a big pile of Target gift cards in the front entryway. Everyone run down there right now, and maybe you can get yourself a prize. I also think that if I managed a company, I would install a claw machine game, and the claw machine game would be full of little tiny plastic balls. And each plastic ball would have a note card in it. And everyone every day would get one free shot. And if they're able to collect one of these balls, they'd crack it open, and then the note card would say something. Be like, you get 5 extra hours of PTO, or congratulations, you get to pick a group lunch on Thursday. And there might be weeks that go by with nobody being able to capture a ball.
Yeah, because you'd probably have it tuned up so that it doesn't grip very hard until.
No, I would make sure that it's a fair
attempts.
playing game. But I mean, also, I think grabbing a cylindrical plastic ball that's smooth is hard. There's no tag like a plush doll that you go for.
Have you ever like just gone on a tear when we're at a claw machine? Like for some reason, it's just your lucky day. One time in middle school, it was my friend's birthday party, and he had it at it might have been the laser tag place, I think, that had an arcade outside of it. And so we all go to this birthday party, and his girlfriend is there, and he's really, he's new at this, right? It's 8th grade or 7th grade, and he's trying to show off to her and all this stuff. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to get you a thing out of the claw machine." And so we all go over to the claw machine, all like 8 of us, and he tries and nothing, and doesn't get something. He tries again, doesn't get something, and he tries one more time. He goes, "It's not going to work." I step up to it, and JJ, I'm telling you, I got 8 in a row.
Yeah.
And I gave one to her, and he was so embarrassed. It was the only time I've ever felt like dominant over another man before in my life, and it was unintentional. I fucking slayed that claw machine and gave everyone stuffed animals.
You did it.
I know.
Good for you, dude. Well done. Well, Tucker, it sounds like you've got a memory there from 8th grade when you peaked. That's very important to you.
I stopped growing height-wise, too, in that grade.
Oh, really?
Maybe I was cursed from that moment.
When I was in 8th grade, I took in a little piece of culture that changed the way I thought of movies, which was I saw The Birdcage, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. I think Nathan Lane and Robin Williams, the chemistry that those two guys share in that movie is amazing. It's so good. It's so good. And it's a great introduction to the world of drag. Which brings me to our guest today is Tequila Mockingbird, who recently won Best Drag Queen by the High Plains Reader Best of the Best Awards, which people in the community vote for that. So it's a pretty big deal. And along with Tequila, Miranda Madsen is here as well. And she seems to be the everything to their troupe. In fact,
Tequila Wrangler, maybe.
Yeah. There's a funny story in here about the term drag intern that Miranda will get into at one point. So I think that this podcast is going to be great for those of you who don't know anything about the drag community, who maybe know about the drag community and love the fact that it's getting to be in the spotlight a little bit here. And of course, anyone who thinks that, we're just a growing melting pot of a metropolis here in the Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo. Do we include Kindred as part of that now?
Sure.
Harwood?
Let's do it. Yeah. It also that ties into our discussion about, valuing oneself, because especially in like a fairly homogenous community, it takes a lot of courage to go, you know what, this is me, this is what I want to do, and this is what makes me feel good, and going, I'm going to validate myself now and not need validation from people outside of me. And that's definitely a lot of what we talk with Tequila about today, is how she's able to
she owns it.
Owns it.
Yeah. In fact, we had a long Beyonce conversation before we started. And I was pretty impressed at my knowledge of Beyonce. I was able to pull a lot of things out of there. I was like, I know more about Beyonce than I thought.
Like, yeah, Austin Powers 3 was great.
Oh, no, I was getting into goddess mode, the whole thing. All right, so sit back and enjoy Tequila Mockingbird on JJ Meets World.
JJ Meets World.
Well, welcome to the studio. How's it going for everybody today?
Great.
It's going well. I'm getting sobered up now.
Good, yes. We've got you on an early Sunday morning, and so I can only imagine that there were some festivities the night before. In fact, there was a show last night at the Sanctuary Bistro and Bar, or Bistro and Grill. What
Bar
is
and
it?
Bistro, yes.
Bar and Bistro.
Yes.
What's the difference between a bistro and a grill? Anyone
a
know?
bistro is classier.
Is it?
Yes.
I would think so.
Oh, so much classier.
I imagine a bistro shops exclusively at Target for their decor.
I think it's more bougie than that.
I don't really know.
More like Marshalls or something.
Oh, is there still Marshalls in our area?
No, you have to travel for it.
You-
That's why it's more
That's-
bougie.
That's why it's bougie. You gotta travel at least an hour or two.
Or you have to shop on Amazon for it.
So let's get into this thing straight away. So Tequila Mockingbird.
Yes.
You just won Best Drag Queen for the High Plains Readers
I did.
Best of the Best.
Yes.
So I won Best Comedian. So we pretty much are in a special social club.
We're in the same category.
That's right.
Yeah.
So tell me what it's like being the Fargo-Moorhead area's top of the top when it comes to the drag queen world. Am I allowed to say drag queen?
Yes, you can say
as,
drag queen.
As like a white middle class man, am I allowed to say drag queen?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, you can.
I didn't know if it was a term that maybe people had taken. Like, no, you don't get to say that. We get to say that.
I don't know what else you would call me. I mean, this man, woman. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you were channeling a little bit of your want for Beyonce earlier, and so that was a whole thing.
Right.
But tell me about the culture in Fargo. I want to know everything. I want this to be if you've never been a part of the world of drag and the fun that it is, because I'm going to tell you about my first drag show experience. I want people to walk away from this being like, "Oh man, when is the next opportunity? How can I get involved?" That's my aim for this podcast, is to inform. Yeah, not like the newspaper though.
Not like a newspaper.
Yeah.
You can swear here.
Yes, you can curse
Totally.
all that you want. So, when did you get into the world of drag?
It's been about 2.5 years going with this whole thing. I quit for a while, but then kind of got back into it. And it's just kind of been taken off ever since that, since then.
Has this always been a part of you? Have you always enjoyed this, or is this something that has sort of through the years been refined and morphed? And
When I was a little boy, I would wear like my mom's flats and this giant T-shirt that was my dress, and I would dance around and I would get caught, and she'd just be like, "Whatever." She didn't know what to do, but I was always dressed up in women's clothes and just kind of parade around the house. I'd play house with my friend Sarah. We would just I'd be the wife, she'd be the dad, and I would just kind of get into it, and then. I did the whole drag thing 2 years ago-ish, 2.5 years ago, and started ever since then. Just kind of taking it off and developed who I am now. So
She gets extra tips when she takes it off.
oh, I can believe that.
it's true, and
without
I
a doubt.
my muffin comes out sometimes. Fresh baked.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. And who doesn't love a good muffin?
Exactly.
Right? You've never walked into a place and said the word muffin and had someone go, "Gugh." You've only had people be like, "Muffin? What?"
It smells good.
And now they've got an extra surprise when they hear that term.
And it comes untucked, and they're just like, "Oh,
Oh, this muffin has
it's a man,
nuts.
Maury."
So, what's it like shopping for women's clothes? Do you go out dressed as a woman to buy women's clothes, or do you go out and just buy women's clothes whenever it suits you, or are you an online shopper?
I go out just in boy mode to
Yeah?
get women's clothes. I do more online shopping now. I'm going more toward tailor-made things, custom-made things, just because that's where I'm going next in my look and my image. But I go out in boy mode, just get some bras if I need a bra, just leggings and all the fun stuff.
And so we're a pretty conservative area here in the upper Midwest. And so how do you feel the community embraces
I don't give a shit.
Tequila Mockingbird? But I mean, do people ever give you attitude,
I mean,
or are they just passive?
it's pretty passive. Like I've done shows up in Bemidji, Minnesota, and it was that very, very straight bar VFW farmers that are old and their wives. We got Harv and fucking Mary just sitting there with their beards and their white hair and not knowing what to expect. But those have been like the best shows. They
Yeah.
don't know what to expect. They don't understand it. So it's like I can look a mess and they'll just be like, "Oh, I love you. Here's some money." And those are the best shows. And I feel like it just takes a bold move to get people to kind of break their own box and break their own views of what they think is normal. And I think and you can do that in drag. You can be whoever you want in drag.
And drag is definitely a performance art.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be, you don't have to be gay to be a drag performer. And it's for men and for women. And just like you can be, just because you dress up in a costume, just because you dress as the slutty pumpkin for Halloween, it doesn't make you an actor. And just because you're an actor, it doesn't mean that you can be a professional actor and you can make a living out of it. And it's the same, as drag. Just because you like to cross-dress, from one gender to another, it doesn't mean that you're going to be a drag performer. And just because you do try to be a drag performer, it doesn't mean you should or that you would necessarily be able to make a living at it. It's a lot of work, and they put so much into it, with all of from the makeup to the hair to the costumes, and that's why when they do perform, they get tipped well. They get a lot of feedback from the audience. And
You're seeing a show.
Oh,
You
yes.
get a full theatrical experience.
Yes.
Right.
One of my favorite drag performers is Dame Edna.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what she has done has been just first of all, I think it's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my life. And I love how that character has now evolved so much and has changed and, is hawking toilet paper in Australia now and is just beloved by so many people. The first time I ever went to a drag show, I went to Toronto the Easter after I graduated from high school. And I was visiting a friend who was studying opera there. And she said, "We've got to go to Zelda's. It is the best drag show, in Canada." So we went to this place called Zelda's, and I was immediately captivated because I love pageantry. Pageantry is, I've mentioned, that's probably, if you had a Google Analytic for our podcast and it logged all the words, pageantry
has appeared a lot.
a lot.
You
which
like that word.
I do like that word. But that's what I get into with a drag show, is the pageantry of it and how impressive it is, because the canvas is, or I guess the paint medium is makeup, and the canvas is yourself.
Yes.
And so when you're putting together a look, let's say, what do you focus on?
That looks good.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is everything's smooth. I mean, right now it's not, because this is a slept-in face, Got already the hair coming through on my beard, and it's really cute. Stay far away. I don't know. I just kind of go with what I go with, and I kind of just put it on. And
What's the shaving regiment? Are you
God.
shaving twice a day? Are we doing our legs too, and armpits, arms, everything like that, or what?
the face takes, it grows fast, back really fast. So I have to shave right before makeup goes on, just make sure everything is good. I shave the face, half my chest, because I show off some tatas here and there.
You've been adjusting them quite a bit.
Yes, they're just kind of heavy, and I don't like them sometimes.
They're like real boobs then.
They are. They are real. Want to feel them?
I do after. Is that all right after this?
That's
Can I
fine.
give them a good squeeze?
You can.
Okay.
You sure can.
and then you got to compare. You got to touch
I'll
JJ's
trade.
boobs.
Yeah. I'll trade you.
We'll
And then tips.
I wonder which would be softer.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean money tips.
Okay.
But I do shave the armpits, because I wear a lot of, sleeveless things. I don't want a big old patch of hair, just oh, whoops, forgot to shave that. I don't shave my legs because I wear tights, which is nice. And arms, I did start shaving them when I first started, but now I'm just like, fuck it. I'm a dude.
Yeah. Oh, well, also women have hair on their
Right.
arms too, so.
And I can't get it off sometimes. It's super fine hair, so.
And so, okay, so do you use the same razor on your face that you do on your armpits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But am I not supposed to?
No, I'm just curious. I'm curious, if you've got different. I'm taking the deep dive here, and I'm asking the questions that I think the average listener might wonder. Are you buying a lady's Schick razor and then a Mach 3 for your face? Or are you just like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander?
Just hack it all off. I just use
The same company makes them all.
A blade is a
Right.
blade.
blades.
you know?
Yeah.
I use Harry's.
It's usually like a double blade.
Oh,
is
I
good.
use Harry's too.
It's good shit, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to get them to sponsor this podcast, so maybe this will be the big in right there.
endorsement deal for all of us.
Yeah, big time.
I once shaved my chest and it was a disaster.
It's terrible.
I told myself I'll never do it again because it hurt so, because I had so many ingrown hairs and it just was like torture for a month.
Right, you should have gotten that waxed.
And then I did a nair and I burned my nipples. And then I was like, you know what? I'm a hairy dude. Just be a hairy dude.
Well, they do have, types of there's many subcategories of drag too. It's not just the beauty queens, which is more of the pageantry. There's also like the horror queens, which will scare you and make you piddle a little. And there's ones that are definitely more theatrical, and it's all about the costumes of the songs. Ones that are kind of gender bending or gender fuck, where they'll have a beard and glitter beards, and there will be patches of hair under their arms. So it's not necessarily. And then of course, drag kings, that's what the women that are dressed as men as well. So there's all different subcategories, and it's with drag, it's not.
There's no rules.
Exactly.
There's no rules in drag.
It's not you have to do this and you have to do this or else you don't count. I think the only time where it's not acceptable is if you're going to be a bitch. That's the only time when they're like, okay, no, you don't get
It's
to be
all
here.
attitude. It really is. It's attitude. Like if I book somebody and they're a giant bitch back, I'm not having them back.
Sure.
I don't care if they're fucking Beyonce. I'm not having them back. If they're rude to me or my cast, my crew, the bar, I'm not going to have them back. That's just how it is.
So you gotta just play. You gotta play nice. You gotta be part of a community,
right.
Exactly.
And don't diva out.
Yeah.
That the thing that happens is most people just think that they're hot snot, and so they.
That was the reason I quit drag for the first time, because I got in the attitude of like, I'm hot shit. You're all are dead to me. That was a really big mistake that I made on my part. So I take a little break and kind of reassess things and be like, okay, I'm a guy in a dress. I need to calm down. And like, no one knows me at that point, and I'm like, I need to just fucking chill. So I came back with my own look, my own new thing, and then I kind of just apologized who I needed to apologize to and moved on from that. It's easy though to get in that hole, because you go from a dude to a woman and people like your look and you get a big head, and then it just kind of gets away from you. Then you have to kind of come back down to earth. That's why I have her around. Miranda's kind of my
your handler.
my handler. Like,
Yeah.
bring it back down, bitch. You're not a fucking celebrity.
My girlfriend and I share a relationship where I call myself the river. I'm bendy and I've got rapids, and sometimes I exceed my banks. And then Jill is the dam. She slows me down.
She
And
loves this one
She
too, doesn't
turns
she?
me into electricity, and everything is calm around the dam. And when I first told her that analogy, she hated it because she's like, I don't want to be the dam. Who wants to be the dam? I said, you're the dam, Jill. You're the damn Jill.
And I will sail
Are you my
my vessel till the river runs dry.
Thanks, Garth.
Are you my damn Miranda?
Damn no.
Damn no. I think she's just my.
I mean, I've blocked some waters before, but you're too rapid for me.
Sometimes I get a little.
At Theater B, I use the analogy of Pepper Potts and Iron Man. We've always had like one person in our troupe at all times who was the person who was the most sane, held everything together, made sure this and that happened, because the rest of us were always crazy. And that person, the first one, Emily, was a redhead, and so I was calling her Pepper Potts because we were Iron Man fans, and then it kind of started to work out. And so I think you're Pepper Potts and you're Iron Man, in that you're basically the only
I'll be the Pepper Potts if I have her expense account.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, can we make that happen?
Well,
Ugh.
I would love like a drag queen Iron Man, by the way. That
Me
would be
too.
that would be awesome.
I'll get on that.
There's a really amazing drag king out of the Minneapolis area, Damien Deluxe.
oh yes.
And oh my gosh, he does super amazing things. There was one act where I can't remember the character that that he was emulating, but I was on those hover skate things.
Yeah, the little hoverboard.
Yeah, and it had, I think it was an anime character that had clouds around it, an Naturo character that it was doing. And so, yeah, it was on stage controlling this during the act. And I'm like, wow, like
Take my money.
Exactly. I'm like, that's the extent of the theatrical work that goes into some of these shows. It's not just, I'm going to stand up here and shake my hips until you give me your money, drunk people. This is my art form and this is how I express it.
So let's say that the people stopped giving money. Let's say we hit a recession. And of course, as we know, podcasts and drag shows are the first things
First to go
in a recession. Do you continue performing even though you're not making any money for it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah?
I have had very low crowds before of, maybe 5 people in the front row. I'm just like, well, I'm still going to do my thing. I don't fucking care. The money isn't really my motivation. It's nice when I get paid, but I'm not going to not do drag because I'm not getting paid either. Like, I love doing what I do.
Are venues paying you to be out there as a draw for them like they would a band? Or are you going out there and it's just you're giving us a space and we're giving you the show and we'll make our money off of the tips?
It's different for every troupe. We use the door money to pay ourselves in the bar because we give them some money just because it is a space for us to perform and it is a venue. So it's kind of an appreciation thing for them. We're going to give you some of our door money just because we love you guys and love the bar. The rest of it goes back to us. We pay our performers. I'm the last to get paid as a director just because I want my cast to be taken care of.
That's great.
It is, but I sometimes I lose money on shows and that's just how it goes. And that's kind of, I don't mind it though. It's a really good, humbling experience when you can just give people, pay them and then just kind of go home and be like, I'm satisfied. I'm okay with this.
Well, and then you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
That's where longevity comes in.
Yeah.
And that's where if people are doing it because they've got a passion and they treat their people well, like you're saying just a minute ago, you talked about, gosh, if you come in and you've got an attitude and you're going to diva out on us, I'm not going to have you back. It's the same thing where if you're just in it to make $1, what's the point?
Right.
Now, given there's also a lot of cost involved for you, you're talking about custom costuming. Those things can't be cheap.
Right.
Most of your money goes back into it that you make. It's like,
right.
oh, I made money. Good, I can buy a new wig.
What are your taxes like?
Taxes?
Yeah, like
That might be the episode title, Taxes, with a question mark after it.
like I imagine you've got just some amazing write-offs that happen down the line. Or if not, you certainly should be.
Can we edit this part?
No, it's okay. It's okay. We haven't actually launched Hot Mess Harlots yet as a business. We are working on that as we speak. So I haven't got any write-offs yet, but
Well, just individually though, as a
Yeah.
I'll let me school you on something here.
yes, please.
As a performer, that's something that you're doing, whether you make money or lose money on it, every dollar you spend on what is considered part of your act is tax deductible. So every bra that you purchase, write that thing off.
Write that shit off.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would even say that you could probably get away with if you have Hulu and you're like, I'm watching Hulu so that I can catch up on the latest episode of, RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever it is. That's probably a direct write-off right
JJ
there.
Meets World is not a tax preparer. Please do not take JJ's legal advice. Sorry about that.
No, I actually need to get on that shit because I've been told that, but I'm just...
I can't wait to... I would love to sit and listen to the meeting you have with an accountant or a tax preparer and just to lay it out and be like, okay, listen. So I had this steam clean done on, my rectum for this show. Am I going to be able to write this off? And he'll be like, or she, sure, why not?
That's gotta
Is
be clean.
anal bleaching tax deductible?
Yeah, I think so, right? This is
needs-
probably part of the character. Is it part of the character?
It needs to be sparkly down there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
Someone
Yeah.
gets a good look at it, and they're like, "Ooh,
Right.
it shines. I get more money."
Shine bright like a diamond.
I had a friend who made an art piece out of 1 million googly eyes and then donated that piece to a children's museum. And so she got to take the write-off of purchasing 1 million googly eyes.
Ooh,
Yeah. Which I'm sure that the IRS was interested and saying like, "Whoa, hold on. Wait just 1 second here. Are you a villain? Is this some kind of take over the world James Bond situation?" No, it's for a children's museum. Oh, okay. We still have some questions that we need to have answered here.
I think they would really be curious if they were individually itemized.
Yeah. Or named.
Yeah.
And they're all from different stores.
Different sizes, right? So 2 diameter.
Yeah, 2 diameter, 1.5 inch. Then there's some in millimeters because she took a trip to Canada.
There are some that are like 8-inch.
Yeah, big old googly eyes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys work with googly eyes at all? Have you incorporated that into your shows at all?
I have not,
But we should.
but we might.
Yeah. There you go. You can take that and run with it.
Could be like a drag queen Sesame Street, and there could be a Cookie Monster.
It could just be your costume. Just get the giant googly eye and
Yeah.
just put it right on your body.
I think you need to put them on those rice babies that you keep shaking all the time.
These are real tits. I don't know who you're talking to.
Okay.
When you bought your first bra, what was it hit and miss?
Oh, God,
Did
it
you
was-
try on a bunch?
It's terrible.
What's the deal with underwire? I hear people complain about that all the time.
I don't mind it because, I have really heavy rice boobs. So underwire kind of helps support everything.
Wild rice, Uncle Ben's. What are we talking about for rice here?
It's just a great value, Walmart. I don't know.
Okay. So
Do they work like a heating pad? You can like nuke them for 30 seconds and they're nice and warm?
See, I was concerned because I get hot at shows. I'm like, I start cooking my rice.
You can't nuke it if it's got wire on it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But I'm
Come
gonna
on,
start-
safety first, Tucker.
That's yeah.
But have you ever ended up with rice? I mean, if you're sweating enough and
That's my fear. I'm gonna be having cooked rice on my tits.
because here's the thing, I feel
Some
like
soy sauce.
Leave some soy sauce, get a fork.
not to get all businessy on you, but I feel like that's something you could sell. But you got to worry about whether or not you have the proper health code permits for it. Because
Smart.
It has to be cooked in a commercial kitchen.
right. But I mean, maybe you could designate yourself a commercial kitchen.
We could do that. Make it happen, Miranda.
Maybe it'd have to
I
be
need
like
to
a
take notes.
Miranda,
food truck.
figure out what county would have the loosest food prep laws. Go from there. So, Miranda, tell me a little bit about your role in this situation. We've already called you a dam, and what was it? A
Pepper Potts.
Horse, yeah, Pepper Potts. But then there's also like a horse bitch.
She's
Wasn't
the
that
horse
the-
bitch.
She's the horse bitch.
And the horse
Right,
bitch.
right.
So what does that
Thanks.
make you?
I'm the Veep.
The Veep. Yeah.
The Veep.
Our vice president.
Large Marge.
Large Marge.
I just watched the clip from Pee Wee's Big Adventure with Large Marge. Tell him Large Marge sent you.
It's a kind of a newer development. We have a board of directors now for Hot Mess Harlots, and kind of she came on, approached me at a show, wanted to host a show, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'll give you a shot. That's what we're about,
No, I'm going to retell the story the right way because she was drunk when I approached her.
Okay.
So
She's not right. You're fake news.
I approached her after a show, and she looked absolutely totally frazzled. And I said, would you, can I be your drag intern? And she's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, do you want any help, like backstage help or anything like that? And she's like, yes. And I said, okay, I could, stage manager or, I've hosted stuff before if you want. She's like, if you want to host, I could give you a trial or something. And so, yeah, I got to do a trial hosting gig. And before the gig was over, she inducted me into the Hot Mess Harlots as the resident host. And I said, well, don't I get a choice?
No.
No, I don't get a choice. So I get to be the resident host. And since I've worked with other small upstarts with like roller derby and stuff like that, with community organizations, I kind of brought some of that knowledge in. And this thing over here is taking full advantage of my skills. And yeah. So I am trying to bring more community awareness to the performance, and then also like what the Harlots can do in the community for volunteer stuff, because we'd really like to give back to the community, as you know, not just the LGBTQ community, because I think a lot of times, you know, drag performers are more of like a visible, tangible group that can show more great things about the LGBTQ community, but also maybe bridge the gap between maybe more conservative groups and the fun-loving people on the other side. But so yeah, that's kind of how I got into it and interested.
And, you know, I love the idea of engaging with the community too, because Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo is a long ways to go, but I love the fact that we have these LGBTQ events taking place outside of Pride Week to say like, no. This doesn't just exist for a week. You can't just embrace it like, like it's the 4th of July.
Right.
And you get to buy fireworks once a year.
Parade's over. We're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Like gay anymore.
Be like, it's going to be a long 51 weeks until the next one. I love seeing the fact that our community is becoming a whole community slowly but surely. And I love the fact that things like, what was the name of it? There's a film that screened last year that they did at the Sanctuary that was sold out. And there are all these great little moments, these pockets of moments. And so getting out there and getting to be a part of the community is a fantastic idea. And I think you're going to find great legs, no pun intended, with getting these drag queens out there and drag kings. And what do you call it? Is there like drag prince or drag princess? If not, there should be
drag babies.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when they're newbies.
Yeah, I think you got to be very careful though, because when you say drag babies, I think of a different type of
baby and drag.
Definition of drag.
I've seen like little tiny teenagers wearing too much makeup, and I call them baby hookers.
Yeah.
Is that the wrong term?
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
I think infant hookers is what the correct.
Is that PC?
I think that's the correct.
Gotcha. And then
so
toddler hooker. And,
Yep, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Well, we just don't want to be ageist, you know.
And not just the Hot Mess Harlots, but you know, there's some other really great drag troops in the community as well. So not just to say that the Hot Mess Harlots are the only ones out there, but yeah, there's so many other ones that to collaborate with, and
not even so much. I mean, drag, but there's also burlesque. We do a lot of with burlesque troops, and you combine their craft with our craft. It's a really good inclusive show. And that's kind of our vision, is to be inclusive. Give everyone a chance once at least. I mean, I don't care if, like I said, if it's attitude with me, if it's if it perform not so great, that's fine. Give it another shot. But if they're gonna have attitude, like I said before, like it just done with it. So, but yeah, we're just very inclusive with our troops too.
How many shows are you doing on average?
We started off doing 2 a month, and then it got to be really, really tiring.
Oh yeah.
And then, so we're back down to once a month, and we're going to look at other venues to do other shows. Just expand our brand, expand what we do, and just kind of build on that. But once a month is more than enough when you work 2 jobs, and But I fucking love it. It's a lot of work, and I get a little what's the word for it? Frazzled sometimes. Like yesterday, I had 2 hours to get ready because I worked, and then I had to do a show, and I'm like shit. But I'm just like, okay, chill, have a vodka or 2.
A vodka light.
Vodka light, because I'm very svelte.
What's a vodka light?
Vodka diet, Coke.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do those things mix well?
I mean, I'm not very fancy.
Oh, okay.
For me, it's fine.
So you're just like, I want the sweet taste of aspartame and the sweet release of vodka.
Pretty much. But where were we? We're talking about
2 hours to get ready, frazzled.
Oh, God, yeah. But even putting on my body and my hip pads and my tights, I was like, this is fucking sucks. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. I'm frazzled. I'm stressed out. but I love it. Like I put it on, I stood up, and I'm like, oh, I look good. Okay, ready? Let's go. It's a long process. It takes time, but like I said, this is what I like to do, and we're gonna expand our troupe to do like makeup tutorials.
Really?
Makeup nights. Yes, we're gonna do a lot of different things than just drag shows. You want to do drag bingo. You want to do speed dating. We want to do the whole kit and caboodle. Just be a whole vehicle.
What about holiday parties for businesses?
Well,
That's where the real money's at, if I'm going to tell you the truth.
I'm okay with that.
And I bet you there's a bunch of businesses who would love to bring in a fun drag show.
Right? And yeah, let's do that. I mean, there's
Get on that, Miranda.
Yes, JJ.
She does so much for me anyways.
JJ.
I'll give her a break. But it's never not appreciated. I hope she knows that. It's always appreciated what she does for us. And for me, keeping me grounded and keeping me sane. But our whole family, our whole troupe is very supportive of each other. We're a family, and we can get bitchy with each other sometimes, but it's never from a bad place. It's always a place of love.
It's a delightful amount of bitchiness.
It is.
It's this
The shade.
lovely,
Yeah.
it's this lovely insults, the shade that you can throw back and forth at each other. And then that second that it hits the line or it starts to cross the line, you just know that's
Not going
a
there.
hard limit.
Yeah.
Stop there. And then we're like, okay.
My back acne is out of range.
Leave it out of this conversation.
So let's. I'm 100% behind this. I think this sounds awesome, and in fact, I'm going to hit you guys up for info about your next show before you leave.
Yes.
And we're going to also make sure that you give the listeners info so they can find out about you in your next show. So let's talk about this. What about the people who have hate in their heart and are just total and complete douchebags?
Oh, I've had a lot of that. I got hate from gay men on Grindr for some reason, like the hookup app that I'm currently on. I get a lot of hate on there, and I'm just like, I don't even know you. I don't know where you came from. There's a lot of he said, she said in the community. A lot of like, well, I heard you were doing this. I heard you were a bitch. I heard this. Well, talk to me about it first. Like, where's my say in this about me? Like,
So it's not even the old fogies that you would imagine to be the ones to give you the business. You're getting business from inside of some of these subgenres of community.
and that's really sad to me, and that's why we exist, because we want to get those walls broken down, because there's no reason for it. Like, we're already marginalized. We're already fighting a big battle here. Like, why fight each other? I don't get it. I have, like I said in the past, been part of that hate, that part of that bitchy toward other gay men, and I've been that person. But coming out of that and realizing that wasn't worth it, I don't understand, I guess, why people feel the need to be hurtful on purpose. Like, if it's feedback, criticism, that's fine. But if it's like just to hurt you, I don't know why that is.
And in my experience, it's always been, hurting people say or do hurtful things. But it seems like growing up as a cis woman, I've found that women can be very hurtful to other women. Like, they want to knock them down so they can feel better about themselves. And I think, why do other women want to knock each other down? We should be building each other up. And it's the same within the community, where we should be building each other up. We should be stronger. But what I've noticed in the rural, smaller areas of North Dakota and Minnesota is that people won't outright say, hey, look, there's a dude in a dress. But they'll just kind of look, and they'll walk away, or they'll smile and turn away. And that's almost worse than outright saying, look at the dude in the dress. If you're in New York City, someone will flat out call you out on something that they don't agree with. But here, it's just kind of the silent intolerance that people have.
Yeah,
and then you can't even start a conversation with someone and see where where you both stand on something and come to a mutual understanding. And I think that's why we're never going to, where we're going to have a harder time progressing to common ground.
So in a perfect world, somebody actually approaches you with love or with hate, but actually approaches you with it, because then you get the opportunity to change their mind. Then you get an opportunity to start a dialogue. And, oh, there's a dude in a dress. Oh, hey, there's a total asshole. You can write back, right back at it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, ooh, that is another human being, isn't it?
And then you ask questions like, why do you feel this way? And not, both of you pointing fingers at each other, but both of you asking questions, because if you both attack, then everybody leaves hurt.
My thing to do is if I get called out, I'll be like, I'll pray for you, and then just walk away. Because they get so fucked up with that. They're like, what? What?
They're like, no. I'm going to pray for you. No. You've got this mistaken.
No, I get my best Southern girl voice and just say, oh, bless your heart.
Oh, you're cute. Yeah.
We're cute.
But I noticed that the hate that I personally get is from little gay boys that watch Drag Race and think they know about makeup and drag. And I'm just like, okay. You think you know about makeup? But you've done it yourself. It's funny. I kind of laugh it off now. I'm just like, okay, but and move on with my craft. But it is disheartening to have that within the community. It's just, I don't know.
And what about the community? I mean, you've got an international community when it comes to drag, and you mentioned briefly Tequila, that you bring in other people for your shows.
Yes.
And so are those people out of the cities? Are those people out of just other communities in general? How do they find you? Do you find them? How does the network of drag work?
We've had people from the cities before. We kind of cultivate North Dakota more than we do the cities right now, just because the cities has so many different venues they can perform in and opportunities to perform in, and we don't have that up here. So I want to cultivate more from Minot, Bismarck, and bring those people in. But like Mia Star and Raven Knight have connections that they tell me, oh, this person wants to try out drag. This person's super nice. I like them working with them. They're super, friendly. So I'll give them a shout out and be like, hey, you want to be in a show? And that's kind of how it word of mouth around here anyway. I love the city's girls. Don't get me wrong. I love everyone in the cities, but there's so many bars down there that can perform in.
They've got opportunities.
So many opportunities, and we don't have that up here. So I want to give people from, like I said, Minot and Bismarck here, in this area more, the chances to perform.
Have you ever thought about launching like a tour?
I thought about doing that. I don't know if we have the legs to do that at this point. We're getting there.
Think about how big the U-Haul would have to be to carry all your stuff. I mean, there would need to be one for Mia's stuff.
I would want an old 1970s Greyhound bus. I could really see that being a thing. I also think you could turn that into a television show.
You don't understand how much stuff that they carry with them.
Oh, it's one bus per person.
I'm actually not too bad, but Mia Star, I love Mia Star. She's part of our troupe. She has boxes of hair because she has giant pageant hair. Mm-hmm. She brings it in separate boxes. And I'm like, girl, there's no room back here for all that stuff. Yes. But oh God, she's so sweet.
She's so glamorous.
God, I love her.
She's like Dynasty, like one of the ladies from Dynasty. She's always
very classy. On stage anyway, backstage not so much.
Oh no, not backstage.
But yeah, she's one that's been a really good driving force for Hot Mess Harlots too. She's got connections. She's well known. She's respected. She has a following, and she's just does what's best for the troupe. Doesn't want pay, doesn't expect to get paid at all either. So it's kind of nice to have the same mindset of the passion behind it.
Mm-hmm. When people are able to give you that opportunity to say, listen, all ships rise with the tide. Yep. When you succeed, I'll succeed. That's a huge, huge thing, especially in a community that is trying to build itself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What does South Dakota have going on? Any reaches into South Dakota?
I've heard of some gigs down there. I've kind of followed, my drag queen friends on Facebook, and they're, South Dakota. Oh, South Dakota. There's a new territory. let's go there.
Be like, oh, Aberdeen, the drag queen capital of South Dakota.
Actually, Iowa has been a rising drag queen
Really?
spot. Yeah, it's been on the rise for some time now. So I kind of want to try doing something there, get some airfare.
That honestly, it doesn't surprise me, and it's because there's a lot of. It doesn't surprise me because there's a lot of roller derby teams in Iowa, and that culture is very similar to the drag culture because they're very accepting of all types of people and just kind of an alternative culture. So it wouldn't surprise me that they have a lot of drag queens as well.
Yeah.
And so what's the next step for your troupe?
I think just getting into different venues, expanding our venue, is kind of where we're focused on right now. Building our, getting things built up a little bit more, get some more legs, get some more momentum going.
Legs meaning people or legs meaning notoriety?
Notoriety and really just pushing different venues and bigger spaces and things like that.
Do you ever get approached after a show by someone who says, I think that this is my calling and I think this is something that I need to be a part of? I mean,
all
when
the time,
Miranda comes up to you and she offers to be your drag intern. So is that a common thing or is that, not as common?
It's pretty common, but a lot of people don't come up genuinely wanting to be part of it. They're just super drunk and they're like, I want to be a drag queen. I want to be in your troupe. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, your breath stinks. Back the fuck up. But I don't get a lot of genuine interest. With her, I could feel a genuine, vibe from her. So I knew that she wanted to be in it. I had drag queens that have been drag yet come up to me like, I really want to do this. I want to be part of this. And I tell them flat out right away. I was like, it's not going to be a lucrative career right now. I mean, it's not. We're a smaller troupe. We're just getting started. So if you're in it for the money, go somewhere else. If you're in it for the passion and want to build your craft and part of the family, welcome aboard. And that's kind of where a vision was from the get-go, was being a family with passion and not always worrying about status and money and all that bullshit. So yeah, I do get approached, but like I said, it has to kind of filtered out a little bit too, because it's a lot of drunkenness and a lot of I want to be a drag king or I want to do this. Okay, well, talk to me about it. They never do. But I do have those few that do come through the noise and find me on Facebook and be like, they're like, I want to do this for real. We talked at the bar. And I'm like, oh yeah, all right.
Then you get to be a drag mama.
Yes, I do. But if they put in the legwork and find me, then that shows on their part an initiative to do something.
What do you think is the best depiction of drag in mainstream media?
The best, oh God, not RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah?
That's not how it is. I mean, that's not
Is RuPaul's Drag Race sort of the Campbell soup of drag where it's just common enough where people think like, oh, I can watch this and enjoy it, but I'm watching it maybe for the wrong reasons because I like the cattiness and I like watching them, scrape at each other.
Right.
When that's not really what you guys are promoting. You're promoting that family attitude. You're promoting the inclusiveness.
Yep. That's
also,
exactly.
the fact that it's a competition, I think, is tough. I know in the improv world, I do not like improv competitions because to me, that's the beauty of improv is it's a community-based thing and you shouldn't be competing against another person.
I think in any creative endeavor, like we've participated in filmmaking competitions, and at the end of the day, it was like, I just don't, every piece of art and every creative performance should be judged on its own between, it and your feelings for it. And then that's just how it is for you.
Right.
And so saying, in a competition, we're going to kind of say objectively, something. Now, at the same time, there are ones where you are just awarded something because someone wants to tell you, listen, you've done something amazing this year. Mm-hmm. So like the HPR award, like that makes total sense.
Right.
But like if you're entering in like, my success means their failure, it just muddies everything, I think.
Mm-hmm. I feel like with that award too, it's a genuine, it's voted on by the people of the area. So it's a genuine award. You feel validated. You feel important and appreciated. If you're not paying for it, it's not an award you pay for. So means a lot to me to have that award. But I don't want to win it every year. I want to give somebody else a chance.
Oh, really? Because I've really enjoyed my second year running of Best Comedian.
And then there's going to be an act of like a dog who can whistle, and you're going to lose.
Like, oh, that dog is so funny. Well, I can pee standing up.
Little scamper.
But I think too, winning awards and pageants and things like that, you need to stay humble with it though. We can't just take that and get complacent and be like, I'm just gonna coast on my awards for a bit. Keep going, keep the momentum, keep the evolution going of whatever you're doing. And I think that's important to keep in mind too, especially with pageantry. Keep it going. Like, don't just rest on your crown. Keep it going.
Is there a top of the mountain for you? Like, is there a trajectory you see you'd want to take where you'd go, this is the end goal, or is it the kind of craft where you feel like you're always chasing after better? You're always going to be refining, changing, doing something different.
For me, there's always evolution to be explored. There's no real end game for me in this. There's, you can go anywhere you want to with drag and with anything creative. You can go anywhere you want to go, and there's really no peak I can see in sight. I just want to keep doing what's genuine for me, what's real to me. And if that means doing a pageant here and there, I might do that. I might not. If it inspires me, if it inspires me, I will do it. If I'm not inspired by it, I'm not going to do it. That's just how it is. And if I want to go a more rock route, I'll go a rock chick route. It doesn't really matter. I don't have a really set mountain peak, so to speak.
And you told me about how you can be inspired by a certain artist or a certain character to kind of find who your drag persona is going to be, and you can kind of emulate them when you started. And you're kind of showing someone on your shirt there. Do you want to talk about?
Christina Aguilera has been my top bitch since she started, and she's been my girl. She doesn't, and that's why I love her so much. She doesn't care about sales anymore. She just had her success. She's had her low points. She's had her flops. She's had her whatever, but she still keeps going, and she still evolves herself for the passion, And that's where I started off doing this. So I want to be Christina Aguilera. I want to be a blonde hair. I want to be buxom. I want to be just a sassy bitch. And then still sassy, still buxom, less bitchy. But that's where I started, is Christina. That's what was my inspiration, kind of. And still to this day, just puts things out that are genuine to her and inspiring to her. Doesn't follow charts, doesn't follow status, doesn't follow sales. Just whatever you feel you need to do.
What's your favorite Christina Aguilera song?
Don't do that to me right now.
Let's.
Oh God!
Why don't you say one that you like, and we'll say it on the count of three and see if it's the same thing.
Hang on.
Okay.
I gotta get it first. There's somebody that I don't know.
Oh, she did one last night at a show, and then at our performance a month ago, she did 3 Christina songs from a movie that she was in. So
from Burlesque.
Just
from
FYI.
Burlesque. Yeah.
This is hard for her.
Do you enjoy, let me put it this way, do you enjoy the song Candyman?
Of course.
I love that one. I love the callback to the Andrews sisters as part of it.
That was an iconic moment, yes.
Tucker, that's my ringtone on his phone. It's Christina Aguilera's Candyman.
Candyman.
I'm trying to think of the song.
Sweet talking sugar-coated Candyman.
Yeah, I haven't heard it. My sister is a massive Aguilera
That's
fan as
because
well.
you don't hear when you call him.
That's true. That's a really good point.
I never call Tucker.
I need a Miranda. Listen, there's a logical gap happening here, Tucker. You wouldn't be able to hear it.
So as we kind of get to the end of this conversation here, I would like to give you guys an opportunity to have the mic and say anything that you want to say to the people who are listening to this. Maybe someone who's never been to a drag show, maybe somebody who has thought about trying drag themselves. Like, what do you want to tell them? What's the story here?
We're not very scary people. It's a lot of fun. Come out, be part of a family. It's very tight knit. There's not going to be any kind of hate thrown your way. If there is, talk to me. I'll fix it. Just come out and see what it's about. I mean, we're not going to push an agenda. We're not going to do anything that's going to make you uncomfortable. It's just a really fun environment to be part of. And if you want to do drag, talk to me or Miranda. Talk to us, and we'll get you going. But do it because you want to do it. Genuine want to do it. Don't do it for the money, because that's not going to last for you. And I think our next show is June 30th out at the bar.
Sanctuary Bar and Bistro.
Yes, thank you for that. Nice.
9 p.m.
It's classy because it's a bistro.
Yeah. A summer soiree show. Yes.
with the Bad Weather Burlesque.
Yes. 18 plus. And
Tickets in advance or at the door?
at the door.
We have an $8 cover, and if you bring an item for the YWCA, then you get $2 off the cover.
And what about the people who listen to this after June 30th? Where can they find you on social media?
I'm all over the place. Instagram, Facebook. That's all I have.
And they're looking for Tequila Mockingbird.
Yes.
Or you can find the Hot Mess Harlots on Facebook.
Yes.
And if you find Tequila Mockingjay, I would like to see the two of you get into a room together and just see see if one person walks out or if you become best friends.
There can be only one, I think, in that situation.
only one
Yep.
mocking.
Only one mock.
I think so. How
Wigs will be snatched.
Yeah. How many members of the troupe are there right now?
We have 5.
God, we should do a round table at some
6.
point.
We have 6.
Yeah.
Should bring the whole troupe in at some point.
Uh-huh.
That'd be
Yes,
awesome.
We have 6 people. We have myself, Mia Starr, Cara Fiera from Minot, Bismarck.
Mark?
Bismarck. I'm sorry, Kara.
It's all right. Anything west of Jamestown is all the same town. Really.
Pretty
When it
much.
boils down to it.
We have Diana Liv, Blue Remind is a drag king, is a little Spitfire, love him, and
Leah.
Leah. Yes, she's a sweetheart.
Leah.
Leah Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Leah Aaliyah.
Yes,
Oh, see? That'd be probably my favorite part is picking out my drag name.
it is fun.
I always thought my DJ name would be DJ Tanner.
That's horrible.
Don't you think that's great?
No, not
And
at all.
everything I mix, it mixes in with the Full House theme, like every song. So it might be, some sweet Jay-Z mixed in with Everywhere You Look.
So would you have a feline pet named Catsopolis?
I probably should, huh? All right, this is for you Jesse the Rippers fans out there. All right, well, Miranda and Tequila, thank you guys very much for coming in today. And, of course, people can find you on the internet, or the best way to be just to actually go out and check out one of your shows.
Yes,
That's
please
right.
do it. And without you, there is no us. So with no crowd, there's no show. So come support us. Come support local art. It's a fun time.
And check out their Googly Eyes exhibition coming this fall.
Coming in the fall. Yes.
Thank you very much for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much. Yes, this was fun.
JJ Meets World.
Well, that does it for this episode of JJ Meets World. Thank you guys so much for listening. And of course, if you want to help us keep the lights on, you can donate to our Patreon account. Hit up jjmeetsworld.com. We've made it very easy for you to go and give us some money on that website. Also, maybe you want to share JJ Meets World on social media. It's a great way to help us build the community of podcast lovers and people who enjoy the random weird stories that Tucker and I tell every single week. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Google Play, YouTube, or wherever you consume the podcast that you love. Throw us a 5-star rating. That would be great as well. If you want to know more about my producer, Tucker, and his work, you're going to go to www.moonbasemaria.com and see all the cool things that he's been doing and working on for the last decade and a half. You can also go to linebenders.com if you want to reach out to JJ directly. JJ being myself, I think of myself sort of as a royal person, so I can say things like that. And last but certainly not least, feel free to email or message us if you have an idea for a guest or a subject on JJ Meets World. Easiest way is to hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. Well, gang, that does it. We're ready to turn the lights out here, and we have to because we are burning candles inside the studio. Apparently, we forgot to pay some sort of an electrical bill, and so the wax is almost down to the bottom. And as everyone knows, once the candles go out, the darkness takes over.